Let me tell you something real. The deepest pain in life doesn't come from what you expected. It comes from what you never saw coming. Let me tell you something real. The deepest pain in life doesn't come from what you expected. It comes from what you never saw coming. You see, we live in a world that teaches us to dream big, to love deeply, to trust openly. And that's beautiful. But the same world forgets to tell us that the very things that make us human, the hope, the love, the faith, can also be the things that hurt the most. Because the moment you expect, you give the world the power to disappoint you. Expectations, they build you up, they lift you high, and then they drop you without warning. We expect people to be who we are to them. We expect the same loyalty we give, the same effort, the same heart. But life doesn't work like that. They're not like that. You pour yourself into someone, and they'll still walk away like it meant nothing. You give your best, and the world might still tell you it wasn't enough. And that hurts. It hurts in ways that words can't capture. Because expectations don't just break your heart, they shatter your sense of worth. You start questioning yourself. Was I too much? Was I not enough? You replay conversations, moments, promises. But the truth is, it wasn't you. It was the story you built in your head. The one where people stayed, where love was returned, where kindness came back to you. But not everyone knows how to meet you where you are. Expectations are a form of control disguised as hope. When you expect, you're not just wishing for something, you're quietly demanding it. You're creating a version of reality that may never exist. And when it doesn't happen, the crash is brutal. It's not the person who hurt you, it's the version of them you created in your mind. The one you believed in, the one you thought would never let you down. But expectations are illusions, fragile and blinding. And when they break, they leave you staring at reality through the shards of what you imagined. That's why the ones we love the most often hurt us the deepest. Because we expected them to know better, to do better, to choose us. But love doesn't guarantee understanding, and kindness doesn't guarantee reciprocation. There's freedom in releasing expectations. Real freedom. When you stop expecting, you stop giving others the power to dictate your emotions. You stop waiting for an apology that may never come, for closure that no one else can give you. You start living on your own terms. You begin to realize that peace isn't found in being treated the way you hoped. It's found in knowing you'll be okay, even when you're not. The moment you accept that people are who they are, not who you want them to be, you start breathing differently. You stop chasing explanations and start protecting your energy. You learn that your happiness isn't a gift for others to hand out. It's your responsibility to build. That doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring I'm better. You love with awareness, not blindness. You give because it's who you are, not because you're waiting for it to come back. You learn the art of detachment, the strength of loving fully without losing yourself. And that's powerful. Because when you release expectations, you rise above disappointment. You stop being at the mercy of someone else's actions. You realize that what people do is about them, not about your worth. You find peace in the understanding that not everyone is capable of the depth you give. And that's okay. You weren't made to be understood by everyone. You were made to grow, to evolve, to become more than what hurt you. So, the next time you feel the sting of unmet expectations, remember this: the pain isn't proof of your failure. It's proof of your capacity to feel deeply, to care genuinely, to hope in a world that's forgotten how. That's not weakness. That's strength. Don't let the disappointment harden you. Let it refine you. Let it teach you where to give, where to hold back, and where to walk away. Because once you stop expecting the world to treat you right just because you're a good person, you start focusing on what truly matters. Becoming someone who can find light even when things fall apart. And when you reach that place, when you stop chasing what you thought should be and start embracing what is, you become untouchable, unshakable, free. Expectations will still knock, but they'll no longer have the power to hurt you. Because you'll know your worth doesn't depend on anyone's consistency, only on your own courage to keep standing tall. It's not the shouting that breaks you. It's not the confrontation or the fight that leaves you hollow. It's the silence. The kind that creeps in after the noise fades. The kind that lingers, heavy and suffocating. The silence that follows when someone you counted on stops showing up. No explanation, no closure, just a quiet distance that screams louder than any words could. You check your phone, nothing. You look back at old messages, reread conversations that once felt alive, and wonder how something so real turned into nothing but echoes. That silence, it doesn't just hurt. It unsettles. It changes you. It makes you question every word you ever spoke, every gesture you ever made, as if somehow you could have prevented the quiet from swallowing everything. Silence is powerful, and that's why it's dangerous. It's how people choose to exit without accountability. They disappear into that void, leaving you holding unanswered questions and unfinished sentences. And here's the truth most won't admit. Silence isn't peace, it's punishment. It's how people show they no longer care enough to explain. And that realization, when it hits, cuts deeper than betrayal itself. Because silence doesn't just say, "I'm gone." It says, "You're not worth the words it would take to end this properly." That's the kind of pain that doesn't shout. It whispers in your chest at 2 a.m. It plays over and over when you try to sleep. It teaches you that absence can be louder than presence. And that sometimes the most painful goodbye is the one that's never said. But silence also reveals the truth. It strips away illusions. When someone stops calling, stops caring, stops showing up, believe them. Don't chase noise from people who've chosen quiet. Don't beg for explanations that will only reopen wounds. People's silence is their confession. You don't need to translate it. You don't need to fix it. The moment someone goes quiet, they've already made a choice, and it's time for you to make yours. Because while you're sitting there, analyzing the void, your life is still moving. The sun still rises. Your heart still beats. The world doesn't stop for anyone who chooses silence, and neither should you. Still, the silence leaves a mark. It forces you to face yourself in ways you never had to before. You start listening differently to your own thoughts, your own needs, your own truth. You begin to understand that the silence around you can also be sacred. Because not all silence is rejection. Some of it is redirection. The universe doesn't shout. It whispers. And when people's noise fades, it's often because life is making space for something greater, something aligned. It's in that quiet that you rediscover your voice. You stop waiting for someone else to speak validation into your life. You start realizing that peace isn't the absence of sound, it's the presence of self. There's a power in learning to sit with silence without fearing it. To let it strengthen you instead of breaking you. Because the same quiet that once hurt, you can become the space where you rebuild. It's where you learn to speak to yourself with kindness, to forgive, to let go. It's where you learn that not every silence needs to be filled. Not every unanswered call needs a follow-up. Sometimes, the most powerful response is no response at all. Sometimes, silence is the closure you were waiting for. Because it forces you to stop expecting from others what you can give yourself: peace, clarity, and strength. Once you find that within, no amount of silence outside can shake you again. So the next time someone chooses silence over honesty, don't chase them. Don't beg for their words. Don't break yourself trying to understand their quiet. Stand tall in your own. Because when you stop fearing silence, you stop fearing loss. You start hearing your intuition louder than their absence. You start realizing that you don't need their words to move on. You only need your own voice to rise again. Because silence may hurt, but it also heals. It may close doors, but it opens strength. It may empty your world, but it fills your soul. One day, you'll look back and thank the silence that once broke you, because it taught you the most powerful lesson of all. You don't need noise to matter. You just need truth. Your truth. And that's louder than anything silence could ever take away. You open your phone and suddenly, you're drowning in other people's lives. Perfect smiles. Perfect vacations. Perfect bodies. Perfect everything. And without realizing it, you start shrinking. You start comparing your raw, unfiltered reality to someone else's highlight reel. Their success becomes your failure. Their happiness becomes your question mark. Why not me? That's the silent question that plays in your mind like a broken record. You start measuring your worth through their milestones. How many followers they have, how fast they're growing, how effortlessly they seem to have it all together. But what no one tells you is this comparison is poison. It kills joy quietly. It blinds you from seeing the magic in your own journey. It convinces you that your pace is too slow, your life too small, your dreams too late. And that's the cruelest lie you'll ever believe. What you see is never the full story. Behind that confident smile might be 100 insecurities. Behind that success might be nights of doubt, tears, sacrifice, and loneliness. Yet, you only see the surface. The polished, edited, filtered version of life that's meant to impress, not confess. But here's the truth. Everyone is fighting something. Everyone has scars they don't post, fears they don't share, and failures they try to hide. So when you compare yourself to others, you're not comparing truth to truth. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's performance. And that's not fair to you. It's like looking at a movie and hating your own life because it doesn't have background music or perfect lighting. Life isn't meant to look like theirs. It's meant to feel like yours. Comparison also steals the joy of your own progress. Think about it. You might be doing better than you were a year ago. But instead of celebrating that growth, you dismiss it because someone else seems further ahead. You forget how far you've come because your eyes are locked on someone else's path. You miss the beauty of your own unfolding story. You stop noticing your small wins, the subtle signs of strength, the quiet victories that no one claps for but you. Every time you compare, you rob yourself of gratitude. You overlook the fact that where you are today was once something you prayed for. The truth is, there's no timeline for greatness. Some people bloom early, others bloom later. But bloom you will if you stop watering other people's gardens more than your own. The more you compare, the more disconnected you become from your authenticity. You start mimicking others, talking like them, dressing like them, dreaming like them. You start shaping your identity around what seems to work for everyone else. But the world doesn't need another copy. It needs you. Your story, your struggle, your voice. You were never meant to fit into someone else's version of success. You were meant to build your own. Because when you walk your own path, no one can compete with you. But when you walk someone else's, you'll always feel behind. That's the trap of comparison. It convinces you that you're losing a race that was never yours to run in the first place. There's power in looking inward instead of outward. When you stop comparing, you begin to appreciate what's real. Your pace, your lessons, your purpose. You realize that your story isn't late, it's layered. Every delay, every setback, every not yet has meaning. You start to see that your journey doesn't need validation. It just needs consistency. The moment you focus on improving yourself, instead of competing with others, everything changes. You grow stronger, calmer, happier, because now you're not chasing, you're creating, you're not proving, you're becoming. That's what real confidence looks like. It's not in looking better than others. It's in looking back and seeing how far you've come. So the next time you catch yourself comparing, stop. Take a breath. Remember this, no one has your story. No one carries your battles. No one feels your dreams the way you do. You're not behind. You're on time for your life. Someone else's success doesn't mean your failure. Someone else's win doesn't cancel your path. You are allowed to shine, even if no one's watching yet. And the moment you stop measuring your worth by someone else's progress, you'll finally feel free. Because comparison doesn't just steal your joy, it steals your power. And when you take that power back, everything changes. You stop competing and start creating. You stop envying and start evolving. You stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward for truth. And that's when the real transformation begins. When you realize that your only competition was never them. It was always the version of you that stopped believing you were already enough. You know what hurts more than betrayal? Staying loyal to people who never deserved your loyalty in the first place. You keep showing up for them, defending them, forgiving them, over and over again, because your heart is loyal by nature. You see their potential, not their patterns. You believe their words, not their actions. You tell yourself, they didn't mean it, or they'll change, because you want to believe the best in people. But here's the hard truth.